I have one good question from Sean. He's one of our ministry partners and dear friends. So I want to read it because it's a good question. It says, if another incursion is impossible, then why does Paul offers angels as a reason for women's head covering in 1 Corinthians 11:10?
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Wow. Okay, so the understanding of the ancient world was such that uh, they believed that women's hair had some function in reproduction. And we find evidence of that um, in extra biblical resources as well. So I think there was one of the one of the ancient Greeks who was renowned as I believe the father of medicine, Hippocrates, wrote about this. And the thought at the time was that women required long hair on their heads um, in order to facilitate conception. And I'm trying to delicately explain this. Um, so the idea was because long hair had something to do with reproduction, then it was only fitting that in the context of corporate worship at church, that modesty should be exercised and that women should cover their hair just like a man would cover his own genitalia, because you don't just walk into church naked with all your bits hanging out. So it was considered appropriate for women to cover their hair because of its um, understood sexual function, even though we understand now that scientifically hair is irrelevant. Um, but it played a significant part in their understanding of sexuality at the time. So it was considered modest and appropriate for women to cover their hair for that reason. And getting back to Genesis 6, of course, uh, that's the passage that tells us that the sons of God saw these women, that they were fair. And this was the temptation that led to their rebellion and their cohabiting with women. So it's sort of a case of putting two and two together. Okay, well, we don't want to tempt the angels here. We're worshiping God. Let's make sure that we're being modest and that we're behaving appropriately in church, so that we can conduct worship without uh, leading angels into sin.